There is about 3 life events that we have to be concerned about. And when I have conversations with many people, here are the 3 things that either they're thinking about, if they haven't yet, they definitely need to consider finding a way to addressing these issues or finding a way to provide some solutions. 3 of the main life events that every single one of us is going to experience. Right? One of them is the possibility that we are going to simply die. You know what I mean? We do a phenomenal job pretending that we're going to be around forever. And on a daily basis, we get confronted either with the news or with a simple phone call. You know, somebody reminding you, hey, somebody just passed away, family member or a friend. The idea of dying is something that most people don't want to deal with. They don't want to talk about it. They really don't want to face that possibility. But as we know, we are vulnerable, and that's a reality that every single one of us is going to face. Once in a while, I'm having a conversation with somebody who will literally say, if I die. And I'm saying, well, it's not so much if, it's a matter of when. Because if you got that exception, please let me know where to get one. Because it's not something that we are accepting from. You know what I mean? We are going to die one day. The question is, when someone dies, we know that people, you're not able to replace somebody. But what happens with the people that stay around? So think about if there are young children that have some level of dependency. And think about, unfortunately, because we operate on a credit environment, right? Most people are always thinking about, what do I do with all this debt that was accumulated? And what if that economy actually depended on 2 people, right? And now one of them is not there anymore. And unfortunately, guys, you know, us men, traditionally, not always, but traditionally, we always go first. So you got to think about what will happen if something happens to you. You know, are you sending your wife to go marry another guy so that that person can help you raise your children? What happens to your children? You know, are they going to have the same level of opportunity and possibility, you know, when it comes to dealing with life? You know, will they be able to go to the same schools that you were planning to send it if you would have been alive? You got to think about the many things that literally were going to require your presence, but now that you're not there, now that you're not that person who is going to be able to walk them through, you're not able to replace yourself. But at least you can provide a set of tools. A death benefit, or the idea of dying and passing, it's something that is needed. I mean, the good news is that right now, just about every company in the marketplace has the ability to provide people with that basic solution. You know, it's probably one of the most entry levels, probably one of those conversations that most people don't want to have ever, but it's a conversation that we need to have. Funny enough, if you're too young, obviously you're not thinking about these things. Once you get older, it becomes a lot more expensive. It's not as cost effective. The fact of the matter is that you want to have a conversation as soon as you're able to process this information. Whoever sent you this video is sending you the video so that you can start learning a little bit about the necessity that we have. Because when we're talking about life insurance, and a lot of people are always very concerned about this conversation, again, it's almost like an invitation to die. It's almost like, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to die. No, nobody's trying to kill you, but we know the difference between the people that actually have something going on, meaning they have some level of protection, they have life insurance, they were able to do something for their family, and the people that didn't. And it's a painful thing to watch, to see that in addition to not having the presence of that person anymore, they also won't have the tools that are needed to be able to go through life in a way that it's not going to be so painful and going through so many sacrifices. You know, we're seeing children that get exposed to many things because they got to go get jobs earlier than they needed. Or like I said, we've seen, you know, women making a choice of marrying somebody just because they absolutely, not because they fell in love again with another person, but because they needed that financial support. So for most men, I will tell you, if you're concerned about the fact that, you know, your wife is going to now get this insurance money and go marry another guy, meaning you think that you're going to finance your wife's next wedding, and a lot of people laugh about this, but a lot of men are thinking about that. I don't want to get it because I don't want to finance my wife's next wedding. The alternative is you don't do anything, and essentially you're forcing your wife to make different choices. And I'm not concerned about who my wife is going to marry, but I definitely will be concerned about who will be the person raising my children. So I hope you consider that and take that very seriously. Now, in addition to that, the second life event has to do not with dying, because the worst thing that can happen to somebody is not that you die, it's that you didn't die. And now you're facing the possibility of a chronic illness, something that can put you on a bed or on a sofa, where now your family or somebody have to care for. You're draining all the resources that you have available. The money that was meant to be passed on to your children, the money that was supposed to be patrimony, the money that was supposed to be the foundation for a better future, the money that you were thinking that you were going to pass on from generation to generation, or better yet, the money that you thought you were going to be using for retirement. We see so many small business owners like driving back from a doctor visit asking themselves, what do I need to sell now? Do I need to sell my house? Do I need to sell my business? Do I use every penny? This business that it took me 20 years to get it to the point of finally become profitable, what is it that I have to sacrifice just to find a way to save my life? A lot of people like to talk about cash value, and they like to talk about how to use life insurance also as a way of doing investments inside of a life insurance policy, where you can actually earn money tax-free or in a tax benefit favorable environment. But the fact of the matter is that before you get there, you can potentially run into the possibility of dealing with a sickness that can destroy everything that you've been working for. And again, we do a phenomenal job ignoring this kind of situations. But most of us have a family member who passed away from cancer. I mean, most of us have a family member that passed away from cancer. Most of us have a family member that had a heart attack. Most of us has a family member that had the type of accident where they couldn't recover and go back to the workforce, right? So living benefit simply means that insurance policy that will protect your family also has the ability to protect you, meaning it's going to put money in your bank account while you're alive. And you can use that money for better treatment. You can use that money to pay your mortgage, to go to the supermarket, to, again, just do the normal things that you will be doing. But now the life insurance is doing something that is essentially still fairly new in the market. Not every policy, not every life insurance has it. You want to look for a professional that can give you some guidance about it. But for the first time, we can literally say we can insure you and your family. For the first time, we can say we have a life insurance policy that is trying to save your life. That's a game changer as far as I'm concerned. That's something that every man have to consider. And that if you were struggling a little bit from the idea of a death benefit because we die first, I also want to remind you that we also deal with the type of sickness that can put you in a bed, that can get you to the point where everything that you build, can be compromised just if you don't have the proper tools. Having the right guidance, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have something that will help you while you are alive. So, and I want you to, having this conversation, think about life insurance as a money protector. It's going to protect everything that you already have, everything that you already built. It's going to also protect your family, right? And also as a money multiplier, you're going to have the ability to do something financially when it comes to these tools that normally most people don't get to do. You can work your whole life and still not have the ability to help your family. This will be one of those things that can actually help you leave a legacy, right? When people think in terms of, man, when I die, I want to make sure that my family remembers that I did something for everyone during the time that I was alive and even after I passed away. And finally, the last event, God willing, right? This is when I say God willing because a lot of people don't get to retire. And a lot of people don't get to retire for two reasons. One of them is they got to continue to work for the rest of their life. They were not able to make enough money. That's the biggest challenge for most people, no matter what. When you go through life, you're going to realize that it's a game of either I'm spending less money because, I got to find a way to spend less money because things are more expensive, and I got to have a very simple life. There's nothing wrong with a simple life. It's something very painful when you see people restricting themselves from some of the basic necessities, meaning things that are no longer a luxury, but the things that the person actually needed, but they're not able to do with. They're going to have to do without. Just because they just don't make enough money. They never, whatever the reality was, but they never put themselves in a position to make just a little more money, because that's the second choice, right? Either I spend less money or I make more money. And so you have people that don't get to retire because they literally have to work their whole life up until the point of dying, right? So death could be a reality that somebody can face. Again, that type of sickness, but also dying way before you get to the point of retirement. State of Florida is our home base, and so we look so many people that come to retire to this place. They later on will be working for the hotels, will be working for the parks, and the reason why they have to do that is because they need to supply, they need additional income. They cannot stop working. That's a confirmation that they did not prepare well for it comes to the point of retirement. What I'm inviting you to consider, right? For some people, they said, but man, most people don't pay attention to retirement up until the point that you start getting close to like 50 or something like that. Well, it doesn't matter. More than likely, if you're running a little late when it comes to playing that game, at least you got to have a sense of awareness that you are running a little late. You got to play some catch up. You got to do the best that you can to direct some of the resources that you have, or maybe find a way to even have a side little something going on. Maybe embrace the possibility of becoming an entrepreneur. Maybe doing something with other people. I know today that people are saying, listen, I went and I took this part-time just to help supplement my point of retirement, because what I was doing, it was just wasn't going to be enough, you know what I mean? And so I needed to find a different way to supplement it. And so whether you're going to embrace becoming an entrepreneur or you're going to find an additional way of generating income, obviously we always highly recommend that you can do that during the time that you still can. Your body at some point is not going to be able to sustain it. If you're young enough, if you're young right now where you can make very little contributions to be able to get to the point of having something that will help you retire very well, right? Especially the earlier you start, the better. Unfortunately, sometimes you're too young to be paying attention to what the end of the road is going to look like. But if you can have some discipline, if you can start doing certain things, if you can embrace the idea that it's not just about savings, because when inflation goes through a roof, imagine you have a savings account that is only earning, 1.5%, 2%, 3%, less than 1%. We had in some cases, right? We've seen those cases where a savings account wasn't even earning a 1%. But inflation went all the way up to 8%, 9%. What that means is that your money is dissolving as you go through the process. What it means is that what was helpful today to pay for your bills, it definitely won't be nowhere near enough by the time you get to 60, 62, 65, or whatever the retirement age is going to be by the time you get there. So if you start investing, and I say that carefully, right? There's many tools where people can actually put some money as the investment quality that you need to earn a little more, or at least to keep up with inflation, and also have the safety nets. And that's why certain investments by way of life insurance become a phenomenal tool, because it's the kind of tool where it gives you a floor, right? An annuity will give you a floor. An index universal life will give you a floor where you can actually put the money in there and not run the risk of losing your money. These 3 life events are something that we are inviting you to consider. Whoever sent you this video is simply asking you to think about it just a little more, just to see if you can, at least you should be open to have a conversation with someone just to say, here's my current situation, no commitments. Most people that happen to be in the industry today, they're willing to have a conversation with you, give you some guidance, give you some recommendations, and then you do what you think would be best for you and your family. The benefit to you is that these conversations are so basic level, very simple, nothing sophisticated about it. You will be able to see the benefit for you and for your family in a matter of minutes. Again, we're inviting you to pay attention to these things because These are three life events that unfortunately, they become unavoidable. Most of us will experience these life events at one point in time, and hopefully when any of these things happen, you will be in the best possible position. So thank you for watching. If you find this information helpful, please pass it around to somebody, family, friends, anybody that you would like for them to also to consider, right? That pay attention to these things. It will be helpful for all of us to be better prepared. So thank you for watching. We'll see you till the next one. Bye-bye.